Hello everyone, my name is Murloc and this is Raid Shadow Legends next video. Guys, today I bring you quite a lot of information. So this video might be a little bit longer than I usually do them, so bear with me. There is really a lot of information. So first of all, let's talk about this guy, Bergot the Malformed. I talked about the previous video about him. He's like, I thought he would be like released like Horgrim, so basically you log in, you get your fragments by login, and after that you just get him for free, but unfortunately he's summon fragment champion, but he's going through like different tournaments and events. So let's see, is he worth your time or not? He's a Night Revenant epic HP based champion. I would say he has a nice HP, quite high. His defense is not terrible. He's pretty slow. Okay. On his A1, he has attack one enemy, so one hitter, and 50% chance to put on himself a 50% continuous heal buff if his attack is critical. So if you want make sure he's landing that heal buff on himself, then you need to actually max out his critical rate, so make sure it's always on you, and it's always 50%, it's on or not, so it's not really a reliable one. Not bad, but not great. A second A2 is attack all enemies and has 30% chance place provoke debuff for 2 turns, so basically he can provoke everyone on 4 turn cooldown, and the chances are basically like about 60%. So again, not consistent. More likely you'll provoke everyone than not. Okay, meh. Okay, I don't know how hard his damage hits. It's based on HP and his HP, so you probably will have a high HP on him anyway. And he has a passive. Passive is basically whenever this champion attack heals all allies except this champion by 20% of the damage received. Okay, heal is alright. I don't know. I don't feel like he's a must-have guy. If you fuse him, okay. Fuse. Yeah, well, actually, yeah, summon from fragments, then it's alright. So this was the first guy. It's quickly went through because the other content is more relevant. Like in the title, you see, basically it's about the Doom Tower and champions, upcoming champions, and sets. So there's a lots of cover. That's why it's a little bit longer, this thing. And that's why I said quickly about this. So classic arena takedown. As you see, these guys is in there, yeah. In the arena, so that means the summon fragment will coming from this area. Unlike the rest of them, there is no champion picture there, yeah. And I think one event is already running, the dungeon divers, and as you see, you're getting 1,000 points, you get 5 fragment, you're getting 2,400, you're getting another 10. So I don't know, I probably won't bother myself like a free-to-play player to go for this guy unless I'm really lucky and I get a lots of fragments, and anyway I can fuse him. I'm not sure there is any other information about him, but nothing. Yeah, so it doesn't have a schedule or plans how you can get those fragments. So if you want him, just go. If you have the resource, get him. I personally wouldn't bother to get him. He's not that relevant to me. Okay. So now I try to something else. It hopefully works. Sorry if it's not, and I'm not so basically I'm never editing my videos at the moment. I'm not really pro on those softwares and things. Eventually, yes, I would like to do that, but now when I record, that's what you see, and let's hope it's gonna work. Yeah. So this is basically update 3.0 highlights. Update 3.0 is basically, I think, the Doom Tower. When the Doom Tower is coming out, then these things would be alive. So all the information you get, it would be alive then, which would be very soon in December, hopefully 2-3 weeks. We don't know yet when it would be released. Valkyrie, she's a community manager, and she's an admin, so she's usually giving very useful information for everyone. And this is Raid Shadow Legends official website, so you can find yourself the information if you don't want to go through the video. Okay, hi everyone, the long-awaited Doom Tower is almost blah 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 going live, and she wants to show and highlight some explanation for the feature, and additionally we showcase new champions and stuff. Okay, so the Doom Tower, the basics. The Doom Tower itself with 132 stages, which you see floors, yeah. So we have common floors. These are the common floors. 12 boss floors. I guess maybe this is a boss floor. I guess. About from this picture, I'm not sure. So basically, every 10 floor you will have a boss floor. You have 120, well, 108 common floors and 12 secret rooms, and and you need to fight through. So basically, two difficulties, both which repeatable, and the Doom Tower is important. You have 30 days to complete, because after that it erases your progress, rankings, rotation, and rotating to some other bosses. There are four big bosses at the end, the final boss, another spider, a Scarab King, a Frost Spider, and I think yeah, a magma dragon. So these are the four bosses, all of them pretty tough and different things required to complete it. So this is I guess it's some kind of so that's how it would look, right? So you have golden keys and silver keys. Basically they will be added to the game when it's also live. Golden keys will be required to access floor for the first time, while silver keys will let you access the secret rooms or replay boss floors you have previously completed. In both cases, the key will only be subtracted from your total if success. Okay, so basically it would be like faction wars. You got keys, yeah. You will have one golden key, and it needs to start probably the whole Doom Tower, and after that you will have silver keys, and you can, I don't know, yeah, the limit is 10 keys. So you can buy, you always will have only 10 keys, and it resets every day. Okay, so every day you will have 10 chance to go and do your stuff. So the golden key is used to advance into the common floors, right? So every single time you first hit a new floor, you're using a gold key. The silver key is used like go and try. As you see, there is a silver key required, so that's a secret room probably. Secret room 8. You need a silver key to complete it, and you probably even can farm those rooms. Okay, the Doom Tower floor classic scheme. So you have 3 waves, 3 rounds of enemies. Every 10th floor will feature a boss fight. Nothing special. We knew that. Hopefully now you know if you didn't. Every floor will grow in power, and the bosses would be more and more difficult to beat. The mini bosses. Let's call mini boss. Yeah, so basically what does it say? If you fight the boss in a lower level, it would be not that strong than the higher levels. Secret rooms will pose additional challenge, and they are have specific requirements, like all champions should be rare, all champions should be from one faction or one type. We knew about this as well. I talked about this, not really went through specifically what kind of options do we have, but it's been released, so if you're really interested, you most likely would find on this website as well, unless you request me to do it and I try to find it and a small video about it, but I think you can just find that information anyway. We will release blah blah blah. So basically what does it says? They would release more information about the bosses, and probably give you some kind of hint what you should use to beat them. I checked what the bosses probably do. There was some kind of data mining, and well, they are tough, I can tell you. Quickly, rewards before we go on the sets. So the rewards. Completing the floor the first time will earn you a set reward that cannot be found again before the Doom Tower reset. Okay, so I guess you complete the floor, you get one of the set here, right? Set piece. And you cannot get, so basically you can go previously completed floor and try to do it again just to get a set, because it gives you just only once per floor, by my meaning. Beating the boss floor will reward you materials for the artifact forge, and each boss will reward materials for specific set. Okay, so these are not from the floors, these are would be in the forge, these sets, and you can craft them or forge them when you have, I guess, a specific mats to do them, and they would drop by the bosses, so it's pretty tough. Let's see the sets quickly. So fatal, two-piece sets gives you, and it's coming from this is one of the boss, cool dot the magma dragon. So the dragon boss will drop fragments of these sets or materials, and you can craft it in the forge. Two sets, two-piece artifact sets, and gives you 50% attack, which is cool, and top of that will give you critical rate 5%. It's cool because usually when you build attack-based champions, you focus on crit rate as well, because you want to push out as much damage as you can. This one is a little bit help you reduce the requirement, yeah, because this rate will give you 5% for 2-piece. So if you use 4, that will be 10%. So that's less stats looking for on your sets anyway for crit rate, and you can use it, I don't know, getting more accuracy or any other required. Untouchable. This is going from the Scarab King, Borgo the Scarab King. He will drop these ones. That's the look of them. Nice. 4-piece artifact. It would give you 2 turns of immunity. Okay. In arena, I guess it's okay. And beyond that, 40 resist. Yeah, well, I'm not really a fan of these ones. I don't really use at the moment any resist sets. Maybe in the future, if I would have more champions, and that would worth build one with a high resist. But I can imagine this set to be usable in arena. Okay, but keep in mind it's 4 artifact, so 4-piece artifact. So 4 gear slots you need to sacrifice for these. Okay, the next one. Affinity Breaker is obtained for Agred the Nether Spider, and it gives you critical damage 30%, which is nice. Whoever it's 4 pieces, but still critical damage straight 30%, and it gives you 20% to deal critical hit instead of weak hit. Okay, which is cool because you hit a weak hit, it's pretty bad. But you still have some chance to deal it's a critical hit, and obviously 30% more critical damage. So this is kind of interesting set. Probably you can find a place for it. So it's a nice one. I don't see really why not to use it, but again, keep in mind 4-piece artifact set. This one, Frostbite, obtained from Sora the Frost Spider, and this is, I believe, a very cool set, because it's a 2-piece artifact set. What it does, 50% chance to resist a freeze, and 10% chance to place freeze debuff on the attacker. So basically, you not just resist, you have a chance to freeze down, and the more artifact piece sets you put on yourself, so if you put like 4-piece, then it would increase the chances to 30 to resist chance, and 20% to put a freeze debuff on the enemy. And also if you all the 6 gear set is like from the same, so the Frostbite, then it would be increased to 45% to resist the freeze, which is pretty nice, and 30% to basically freeze the attacker. In additional artifact materials, you will be able to win champion fragments by completing secret rules. This is really important there are champions you cannot get from anywhere else, just from the Doom Tower. And to do that, you need completing secret rooms. You can get this reward only once per cycle, so every 30 days it would reset, and every progress you made, it's gone, and you can do again the secret rooms and getting fragments. And the fragments will refresh once the Doom Tower resets. So yeah, I believe that means you be able to advance like just a half of the Doom Tower. Let's say you're not strong enough to go for the top boss. That's what you can do. On your way, you open as many secret rooms you could, and you got the champion fragments. Yeah, but after 30 days, the Doom Tower will be resetted. So what would you do with these champion fragments? Huh? You think like, oh my god, I wasted my time. No, I believe, what does it mean? The tower resets back to the normal, and you can go again and collecting fragments, and hopefully eventually you will complete those champions. And now quickly, let's turn to those champions. So basically the champions coming from these Doom Tower fragments. Tia, the Tomb Angel. Well, she's a legendary Force Affinity, Attack type champion and Night Revenant. Befoolment. Her basic attack 2 times at random, has 75% placing a Hex debuff for 5 turns. That's incredibly long. Each critical hit decreases the cooldown not of this word skill by 1 turn, and a scanned version it does exactly the same, except you cannot resist the Hex debuff. And the not of this world, basically that's what the cooldown is going down. Places a perfect whale, which is a really nice defensive buff on this champion for 3 turns and grants an extra turn. So 2 hitter, if you build up her 100% crit chance, she would actually every single time you're using her A1 decrease the perfect whale cooldown, and more often you can cast a perfect veil on for herself and actually getting an extra turn. So it's really nice. Her A2 attack all enemies, increase the damage increase by 50% for each hex debuff on the enemy, stack up to 300%. Remove all hex debuff from all enemies after attacking. So it's a very strong ability. With A1 you make sure so basically she puts her hits random, so hopefully you would put 2 different enemies your hacks, and when you're using your A2 it basically increases the damage for every hex you put outside. It's really nice. I would like to see what's the damage multipliers on this one, but this looks decent damage over there. And she has a passive, has 50% chance to placing True Fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn when an enemy loses 30% or more than max HP in a single hit. I guess if you put her on a decrease max health set, which I think it's some of the sets will boost it, so we'll get there. It's at the end of the video. She could so she could hit pretty hard with her A2, and then she might trigger the passive. That's not well. We need to see how much damage she could put out first to see how useful is this passive. Definitely, she's a nice champ. Anyway, Gomlock Skyhide, legendary Force Affinity support orc champion. He has A1 Soul Suck 10 reels, attack 1 enemy, has 50% chance placing Leech debuff for 2 turns, really nice. Has 50% chance placing Leech debuff for 2 turns on 2 random enemies if the champion has full HP. Okay, I guess if he comes first and he didn't is fast enough, then he definitely would put. So 50%, we don't know how could you book out. Let's say if it's 75%, it looks really nice. So basically if he's on full HP, He's not just putting on the enemy attack, but 2 other random enemies as well. Leech is pretty good. Heal. As a A2, attack one enemy, 60% chance of stealing 2 random buffs from the target. It's nice to have. Hit someone, remove nasty buffs like uh, block damage or anything which is really it's random but stealing, and stealing is very important. It's not just removing it, you get that. So that's definitely a really good attack and ability to have. Also has 60% chance decreasing the target's turn meter by 50%, decreasing. So basically stealing 2 random buffs and 60% chance to decrease the target's turn meter by 50%, which is huge. Steals 50% of target max turn meter instead if this champion has full HP. So if he's on full HP, he's not just decreasing the turn meter, he steals it, which is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, he's a one hitter, so it's not that good, but still against the bosses, this, if you're able to manipulate his turn meter, that's just wonderful. And he has an 8-3. Attack all enemies 2 times. Nice. Double AoE. Each hit 75%. I guess it could be booked up to 100. Has a chance to placing 60% decreased defense. Here we go. Is a debuffer, a really nice decreased defense debuffer. The first hit on each target also has 75% decrease the target's turn meter by 10%, which is nice. So more turn meter control. So he's a really nice crowd control champion with some debuff skills together, which is cool. The second hit on each target also has a 75% chance of placing 25% weakened debuff if he's champion on full HP. So you have to keep this guy healthy. Because if he healthy, he puts out not just decreased defense, but weaken, which is insanely strong debuff. These two together. And beyond that, not just putting these debuffs out, he has a turn meter control and an A2 as well. So he's pretty often could come. He's pretty often will drop out this. So it's amazing. It's a on 6 turn cooldown. I guess you could book this one till to 4. And he has a passive. Whenever 4 or more buffs are placed on the enemy team in a single turn, he places a shield buff on this champion for equal to 50% of this champion max HP for 2 turns. So when the enemy start buffing himself, he's getting a shield to make sure he keeps himself healthy, right? So it's not that bad. Uros the Soul Cage, legendary void champion. HP type, so HP based champion and demon spawn. Jagged Knuckles. Attacks one enemy, places a shield buff on this champion equal to 10% of this champion max HP. On A1, consistently will put on himself a 10% max HP shield, which is absolutely cool to have. The shield value increased by 1% for each poison debuff on the target. Okay, I don't know if it's going against clan boss or one of those bosses you kill with a poison, then it could be, I don't know, 15-16% of max HP shield on A1. Really nice to have. Fetid Eruption attacks all enemies, so it's an AoE attack. Have 75%. I hope it could be booked for 100. Decreasing the turn meter by 15% of enemies under 1 or more poison. You throw out your poison, then you, if they have the poison, then you just decrease by 15%. Also has 75% chance to place 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns on enemies 2 or more poison, and there is a third one, has 75% chance to place stun debuff for 1 turn on enemies under 3 or more poison debuff. This is absolutely very strong. So if you have a good poisoner who is throwing out like Richthof or Richthof, I'm not sure this is how you pronounce his name. He's recently became very good. He's throwing out a lot of poison, or group attack is throwing out poison. So basically, if you pair this guy with someone who is throwing out a lots of poison, he basically stunning the whole team. Boom. Instantly activates this skill when this champion is revived by Elemental Conjurer. Elemental Conjurer is another champion. We get to him. So basically, he able to revive champions, and when he revives this guy, he straight away activates his ability, and if there are poison, he stuns everyone. So basically, this is very strong, I believe. Obviously, we need to see in action how does it work, but I feel this is absolutely OP strong ability. A2 for it's not even that high cooldown on it. If you can book out or for free, then it would be amazing to basically consistently manipulate the turn meter, decrease the speed, and throwing out stuns. Soul Bounty. Place 25% strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns, and 50% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion. Don't forget, he puts on himself shield, and he strengthen everyone, which is one of the strongest buffs exist in the game, and put out ally protection. So, okay. Hello. So he protects your team. So far, this guy is pretty good. He has a passive. When attacked, he has 50% chance to placing 5% poison debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. So, somebody hits him, he has 50% put out poison. Poison, we know it's good because it increases his A1 shield. He has a chance to turn meter manipulation and other stuff. So this is useful. Whenever an ally attacked while under strengthen buff, so basically when he puts out his protection, he has 50% chance to placing a provoke debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. That's pretty cool, because on the next turn they're gonna hit him, and he will put out more poison. Cool. Increase this champion max HP by 5% whenever an enemy receives damage from a poison. Okay. And I think this is cannot decrease a single champion max HP by more than 25% in one battle, and will not decrease bosses max HP. So you can use against bosses. Cannot increase this champion max HP by more than 50%. Still really strong. So he's getting max HP increase for every tick, every poison damage. And whenever an enemy receives damage from poison debuff placed by this champion, also decreases their max HP by 5%. 25% the max you can decrease. Oh, well, this interesting. And it has a aura, increase ally resistance in all battles by 80. Well, it's okay, I guess. Resist. Okay, epics. Royal Archmage. His magic affinity, support, and banner lords. Attacks one enemy, fill this champion's turn meter by 10%, fill the turn meter by 20 if this attack is critical. Okay, obviously you would try to get him 100% crit rate, so he would usually do 20% turn meter, and it's an A1, so he's just basically hit, and eventually it comes again. Time sleep. Attacks one enemy, also attacks all other enemies if the first attack is critical. Again, you build him up probably to get 20% turn meter, and also it's useful for the second. So basically what does it mean? You hit one enemy, and after that, if it's crit, and 100% crit rate, it would be crit, then attacks all others. So it basically makes it AoE. Each hit has 50% chance of placing stun debuff for 1 turn. Okay, so he's and 50%, I don't know, you might can book higher, you might not. Stun with crit rate, almost for everyone, a chance to stun. After attacking, decrease the turn meter of each enemy without stun. So you land a stun, they stun. If they're not stunned, you just decrease the turn meter debuff. Very nasty skill. I love this. Turn meter control. Beautiful. physic guidance place. Okay, this makes this guy a very good one. So places 30% increase speed, the big speed increase. 30% increase crit rate. So if you start with this and you're locking the 100%, you put a buff on himself as well, which increase the critical rate by 30%, and 30% increased crit damage, but for all allies, so included in himself. Okay, so I take it, not just increased speed like most of Speeder, and he has an aura which increased speed, ally speed in arena battles 17%. So he could be your speed lead in arena, and he brings really nice stuns out. He brings turn meter manipulation for himself, and this passive he has, it's even makes him more fun. Immune to turn meter decreasing effect. Okay, so if he comes, he comes. That's it. He's just gonna make his turn no matter what. I love him. He's good. He's good. Okay, Inferno Golem. Epic Magic Defense Demon Spawn. The second Demon Spawn. Molten Punch. Attack one enemy. Has 50% 50% chance placing 30% decrease crit rate debuff for 2 turns. On A1, I'll take it. Pyroclast attacks all enemies, has 20% chance placing an HB burn debuff for 2 turns. The chance of placing debuff increases by 20% for each enemy alive. So ideally, if you go against enemy team, enemy player, so a player enemy team, that would be 4, let's say arena. There are 4 enemies, so that makes it 20%, and it makes it 100%. So the beginning 100%. Against Spider, it's amazing, because it most likely it always would be 100%. On certain bosses like Nether Spider, it would be again almost 100%. Well, actually it would be 100% because I have 4 small minions, HP burn. Really nice. Attacks all enemies. This is the third. Pyretic Release. Attacks all enemies. Has 50% chance increasing the cooldown of all skills by 2 turns on enemies under HP burn debuff. 50%. I hope it could be booked up a little bit higher, but definitely it's a very strong one because you lock out their skills. All skills by two turns. There's I think only one champion does something similar. It's called the Basher in the Skinwalker team. He's absolutely beast. Obviously, it has a requirement HP burn, but like we said, we have on A2 HP burn throwout. So. And this A3 still have more. Also places a shield buff equal 20% of this champion max HP on all allies for 2 turns. Alright. Okay. And he has also this instantly activate this skill when this champion revived by Elemental Conjurer, who will be the next. On 5 cooldown, I would take it. So basically, died, revived, boom, turn out this decrease skill. So basically, it's pretty strong, I believe. Again, has 10% chance, is a passive, it is swap. Has 10% chance to placing a fear debuff on an enemy for 1 turn whenever they receive damage from HP burn. Debuff placed on themselves. I guess this only meaning here, like debuff on themselves. I'm not sure you know or don't know. You probably know when you're fighting against the spider, let's say in the dungeon. If you put HP burner spiderlings whenever they move, they damage the spider itself, right? So this one it says it's gonna put 10% chance fear debuff on the enemy if they damage themselves with HP burn. So the spiderling will be damaged by himself. He could get the fear, but not the boss. And the aura he has increased ally HP in all battles 25%. It's actually a nice one. Elemental Conjurer. So this is the reviver dude who is like linked to at least 2 other champions, Uros the Soul Cage and Inferno Golem. Okay, so Epic, Force, Affinity, Support, and Dark Elf. Is A1, attack one enemy, has 50% chance block buffs, debuff for 2 turns. It's nice, you can look out any kind of useful helping buffs on the enemy, and it's an A1. So you put on him, he won't be able to put on himself shield and anything, nothing basically, unless he cleans it off. Sweeping dismissal, it's a 50%, but I believe it could be booked out higher, we don't know. Sweeping dismissal has 75% chance to removing all buffs from all enemies, also has 75% chance placing a weaken debuff on all enemies for 2 turns on 4 turn cooldown. I think it could be booked up to 3, and this is a very, very strong A2, because I believe it would be 100% if you book out. Removing all buffs from the enemy, doesn't matter where they put, it's just gonna rip off all the buffs and replace it, hopefully, for 25% weaken, which is very good. Revive dead allies with 50% HP, then fill their turn meter by 50%. This is a Master of Summons, this is A3. Will then place a block debuffs buff on them for 2 turns. Yeah, okay, so basically revive one champ and 50% turn meter and block debuffs. Pretty cool. Life, you can debuff them. Pretty good. And this is very special. Will also revive Inferno Golem and Uros the Soul Cage with 30% HP if they are on the same team and not the target of the skill. Will also then fill their turn meter by 30% after reviving. So technically that means you revive someone who is not Inferno Golem and Urust. As an additional bonus, it would revive them as well with a smaller HP, with a smaller turn meter gain. If either Inferno, Golem, or Ura's Soul Cage are the target, so if you specifically want to revive one of those, then instead of the 30%, they will get the 50% HP on revive and 50% turn meter gain, and also they would have the block debuffs as well. As an aura, increase ally accuracy in all battles by 40. I believe all of these champions, guys, they really unique and really strong. So Doom Tower is coming with some nice champs to collect. Rankings. So basically, this is again still Doom Tower. Every player who completed floor 10 will get a placement in Doom Tower rankings. These are separated into 2 following categories: global rankings and clan rankings. The rankings are further divided by normal and hard, obviously, because there are 2 versions. Completing Doom Tower will award ranking points and increase your standing, much like this in tournaments. When the Doom resets, the game will display pop-up with the current rankings to highlight the most successful players. If it's gives you additional rewards, okay. Whoever just to be in the top, I'm not really interested in it. I'm a free to play, but I don't have that many strong champs, so I'm okay to be there on the rankings to see where I am. But beyond that, if there is no rewards, basically it's okay feature. And I think now we're going to the new champions, and I think these are the new champions who would be. You could get them through the festive period, so the Christmas fusion, basically. Pixnil, legendary magic affinity support high elf. Attack one enemy has 30% chance placing whale buff on random ally for 1 turn. Cannot place whale buff on these champions. So basically, anyone else on A1, and it's a 30%. Maybe go a little bit higher the chance, but I could imagine 50%. A whale is okay, it's nice defensive buff. Grip of the Winter places 60% increased defense buff and 15% continuous heal buff on allies for 2 turns, then attacks all enemies under freeze debuffs. Places 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns on all enemies under the freeze debuff. Okay, so basically, two things. First of all, it's buff all of your allies. It's increased defense. It's nice defensive. Don't forget they could have a veil, increased defense. So it's very highly increased their survivability and continuous heal. Very nice. And then attack enemies who has freeze. I guess you would play around with freeze sets, or maybe there is other champions or even herself who gives freeze out, throw out freeze. And then it's not just attacks them, but also weaken them, which is nice. Attack 5 times at random. Each hit has 30% placing. Here we go. So A3, 5 times random, 30% chance placing freeze debuffs on 5 cooldown. I guess it could be booked out to 4 or 3. And A2 as well, probably lower if you book her out. Has 100% chance placing a freeze debuff on enemies that receive 2 hits. So she has 30% to put on first place, but if she didn't, so she missed and she hits that same enemy again, then it's 100%, which is, well, I would say, I guess, okay. She has a passive. Whenever an enemy places a freeze debuff on an ally, she has a 20% chance of stealing the freeze debuff and placing it on this champion instead. Okay, so she protects your allies. 20% chance, not that high, but still something. She has a chance to steal the freeze and she would be frozen instead of that guy, which is pretty good. Has 25% chance of filling this champion turn meter by 25% every time they receive freeze debuff. Okay, so I guess if she stole the freeze or she got the freeze debuff herself, then she has a chance, a small chance to increase her turn meter. Okay. Has 35% chance removing of any freeze debuffs from this champion at the start of every turn. Okay, I take it. If they could book up a little bit higher, then it's nice. If not, it's just a slim chance to remove, to basically save one of her life being frozen. Turn meter for herself if she got that freeze, and a chance to remove every single time she comes freeze, and turn meter helps in that. Yeah, if there are multiple champions in the team with this skill, only one will activate. Yeah, okay. And she has increase all battles resistance, ally resistance. Okay. Next, Yakal the Scorch, legendary champion, Void, attack and barbarian. Really nice, because they don't have enough legendary voids, amazing legendary voids, or just legendary champs. Okay, another one. Axe of All Winter attacks one enemy 2 times, so Toe Hitter A1. Each hit has 20% chance of placing freeze debuff for 1 turn. Okay, so you can pair with your lady over there, up there. Will ignore shield buff if there are 1 or more enemies under freeze debuffs. Okay, take it. Will also ignore block damage buffs if there are 2 or more enemies under freeze debuffs. Okay, that's cool. Will also ignore 30% of the target's defense if there are 3 or more enemies under freeze debuffs. Cool. So hit through the shield, hit through the block damage, and most likely would even ignore 30% of enemy defense. Cool. That's okay. It's all A1. A2, Blizzard Rider. Attacks one enemy, so it's one target and one target, so one target. Attack one enemy, has 75% placing 30% decrease speed debuff for 3 turns and 75% placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. Cool. Also steals 100% of the target's turn meter and places 30% increased speed buff on his champion. Okay, absolutely cool. Turn meter manipulation with some decreased speed and freeze, and also increase his speed for free turn, which is, oh, and the debuff as well for free turn. So absolutely amazing. A2 for turn, I guess it would be free turn, so absolutely okay with that. Glaciate attacks or glaciate attacks one enemy 3 times. Again, one target hitter. If the target under freeze debuff, remove the debuff after attacking and place it on all enemies except the initial target. Will also attacks all enemies except the initial target after the third hit. Okay, so basically it's a one target, but potentially it would AoE. So you hit the first guy 3 times. If he has a freeze debuff and you would like to aim one with the freeze, then he removed the debuff, it won't be frozen anymore, and he plays on everyone else, and after that attacks them. Okay, cool. He has a passive, Lord of Ice, passive fact. Increase the damage this champion received by 10%. Oh, sorry, decrease the damage this champion received by 10%, and increase the damage by 10% this champion inflicts if there are one or more enemies under freeze. So one freeze debuff out is already getting 10% less damage and does 10% more. I'll take it. Increase this champion speed by 15 and resistance by 50 if they are 2 or more enemies under freeze. So basically 2 frozen is not just like less hit, more damage, but faster and more resist. Absolutely okay. And he has an active effect on 5-turn cooldown. It places on himself an unkillable buff for 2 turns whenever there are 3 enemies under freeze or debuffs. Okay, unkillable. Nice. No damage. And this guy getting all ally attack in Doom Tower increased their attack by 43%. So, okay, this dude is strong. Achak the Wanderin. I think that's how you pronounce Achak. So it's epic force support and another demon spawn. Demon spawn's getting lots of love in this 3.0. Devour all hope. Attacks one enemy. Has a 30% chance of decrease the duration of one random buff if the target is under HP burn. Okay, cool. Also has 30% chance decreasing the target turn meter by 15% if they under the debuff. So turn meter control, if they frozen, debuff duration if they HP burn, all of A1, and you aiming one enemy. Okay, fine. For A1 it's okay. Cannibal Might places a block debuff on all allies for 1 turn and 25% strength buff on all allies for 2 turns. That makes him, to be honest, clan boss viable with the block debuff and strengthen, actually. I believe you can use them here. Him there, actually. Frostfire Gale, A3, attack all enemies, 70% chance placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn on enemies whose attack higher than their defense, and 70% chance placing HP burn debuff for 1 turn on enemies whose defense is equal or higher than their attack. So higher defense-based champions getting HP burn, attack-based attacker champions getting frozen, which is cool because that's what you want. The damage dealer should be frozen, and defensive champions, they should, well, getting damage to bring down HP down. He has a passive, heals all alive 5% of their max HP every time an enemy under an HP burn debuff gets a turn. Okay, this makes him a huge spider champion. Fill the turn meter of all allies 10% every time an enemy freeze debuffs gets a turn. I guess this one is also cool with those champions we've seen, which is throwing out freeze all the time, because it's just whenever they get a turn, all of your champions getting closer to their turn. That's really nice. And he has a 25% ally defense in all battle. I think he's a very strong champ as well. Grunge, the Killjoy, and finally the last champion from the Christmas fusion, or I don't know what would be Fragment fusion or any other chance, but these are, I think, you can get there. Grunge Killjoy, okay, Grunge, epic for support Ogre tribes. Mace of Fullness, A1, attack one enemy, has 40% chance placing a block buff. A debuff for one turn, it's okay. A1, so you prevent to buff themselves, pretty nice. Kindle Soulfire attacks all enemies, so AoE attack on A2, has 50% chance placing a bomb debuff that detonates after one turn. That's huge, I believe. You put a bomb, they get a turn, the bomb is blown up. On 5 cooldown, I guess you might can book this down to 3, I hope. Hex Eater removes all debuffs from all allies, then places a 15% continuous heal buffs for one turn on each ally for every debuff removed from them. Okay, okay, now we're talking. So basically, this is a huge stuff because you got debuffed, he cleanses you, and after that, for every single remove debuff, you're getting 15% continuous heal. Okay, that's a big heal. Continuous heal. Okay, okay, nice. That's pretty strong. Okay, six turn cooldown. I guess it would be 4 maybe, but this is strong. Cleanse and a big heal. He has a passive Madcap. Fills the turn meter of all allies 10% whenever a bomb debuff detonates on an enemy. That makes him amazing. First of all, throw out on everyone. Bombs, they blown up whenever the enemy comes straight away, and then he feels 10% after every bomb. For every allies you get like 10% turn meter feels. So if you're working with the bomb team and they all the time just blowing up on the enemy, it's basically creates a kind of loop and everyone is coming again and again. So, well, I'm actually pretty happy they put this kind of champion in it because it might make the bomb meta or bomb ability useful and fun to play. We'll see. And in a faction wars, it would give all ally 30% defense. That the aura. Phew, it was a quite long. Thank you for staying with me. If you've been here, these are all the champions, and really not too many things left. Basically, the artifact rebalance. That's what we talk. There were 8 sets which people didn't really use because, well, some of them been used, but they weren't good. Retaliation set. The changes four-piece set from 25%, 35% chance to counterattack when it's hit. It became better. I see it might be would be used for certain champs, especially if somebody, let's say, has an AoE attack or some nasty debuff. So counterattack, then boom, hits back and using his A1 and stuff. So that could be okay. Regeneration instead of 10, it will be regenerated 15%. I don't see any point to use it. four gear slots taken, and I believe it's not that strong. It's like a continuous heal all the time on the champs. That's it. Toxic. For set piece, instead of 50%, 75% to place a weak version of poison for 2 turns. I can imagine if you use with the new champions which do some stuff with poisons, it could be useful. But beyond that, I just have my poisoners and I would use them instead of these. Some of them is even more than 75%. I don't think it's gonna really change anything about this one. Reflex. Change the so from 30% to 40%, so 40% chance to reduce random skill cooldown by 1 turn. I can imagine it could be useful if my logic is correct. So let's say we take a champion who has an A1, which has no cooldown, and only one other ability to use or one skill to use. Like Stagnite, yeah, he has A1 and an A2 on cooldown, and an A3 is a passive which has no cooldown. So I guess if you put in this set, he has always a 40% to reduce cooldown by 1 turn, a random skill. But I hope it's not worked the way like, okay, A1, okay, it has no cooldown, so boom, you waste it. If that works that way, this set is crappy. If not, I can see potentially used on some champs who has only 1 or 2 skills and only 1 on cooldown, because in that case, if that how it works, it's checking which skills are actually could be decrease the cooldown on using on them, then it would be 40% always the same skill which actually you using a lot. But we'll see, I gotta test it. Avenging set, 40%, 45% chance to counterattack when you hit with critical hit, has no damage penalty. It's a very specific set. I don't know, I never used it. Might gonna play around. 45 is better than 30, but still, almost 50%. And this is the set, destroy set, I was talking about. So definitely there is a boss in Doom Tower which requires to decrease max HP to kill him or do decent damage, and this is the set which could help you out, and it's actually increased by 40% from 30. So decrease enemy max HP by 40% of the damage dealt. It could be useful, but I need to try it. I need to see how it works. Beyond, I can't just assume it would be good, but definitely it's a little bit better than was. Curse set, 75% chance to place 50% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. If you're really struggling in Spirit Keep or against the Fire Knight, I guess you can put on one of your champs this set and it would place a heal reduction which could help you out, but beyond that I'm just not gonna waste my time on this set unless I specifically have an insane roll on it and I need to put on someone else, and the set doesn't really matters. And again, 4-piece of set, so I don't think it would be used more than usually. And the last curing set, from 10% it would be increased 20% bonus heal. I don't know. Maybe. Me personally, I don't see any fantasy in this set. However, I'm not that experienced player, so I might missing out something. And basically, that's it. Christmas decoration, return to the Bastion, meet in the holiday season in style. Many faction war stages went through balanced weeks and should be easier to complete. This is this is already in the game. So that was all I wanted to share with you. Sorry about to make it very long, but it's a lots of things. I actually would put the link in my video description, so you can go here and read yourself again and try to understand the mechanics. Some of them is quite a lot to intake. I think it would be a really nice content when it comes out. It's really soon. We're very close to December, and hopefully it would be before the Christmas period, so somewhere in there is no exact date, but I hope it would be in the first part of December, because I'm already want to play the Doom Tower. Guys, thank you your attention. Sorry about the length of the video. I hope you are excited as well for the upcoming basically things and changes, like the set changes. You excited about the new champions? There is definitely lots of great ones coming. It's gonna change a little bit the game itself, I hope, and I see the potential. Some of the champions really probably would go into meta, some of them moving out. We'll see. When it goes alive, we will see. The test of the pudding is the eating. That was me, Murloc. This was my especially long video about the new changes. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave me a comment. Subscribe for more content to create if you see the potential in me. And once again, thank you for being here. See you next time. I was Murloc.